Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Rodeo Time, the podcast. Got your man Dale Brisby here. We've got joining us Mr. Chicho Nation, Zapata, Elliot Blair. We're going to hear his story. Donnie, Ray, Daytona. I'd like to thank Rock and Roll Denim for bringing us podcast today. Reflex Denim. I've got the vintage 46 on. Did you wear Reflex today?
I did.
Yeah, when we were ranching this morning?
When we were ranching this morning because
You needed the mobility.
Ye-
We all did. I wasn't throwing a rock at you. Why you look at me like I'm picking on you?
Man,
Everybody
because you
needs
always
mobility.
do about my mobility. I am mobile, hostile.
I know you are.
And I'm agile.
Dude, listen, I know that you're thicker than me, but I believe you are quick. You're like a fast... I would see you more as a defensive end than like a center.
How about just an outside linebacker? Would be fine.
No way you were outside linebacker.
Bet. Play the option on me. Watch what happens.
Dude, we used to
You're
run
a
the veer. We used to run the veer, old son. I'm keeping
No.
it.
You're
Coming around
keeping
the
it?
corner.
You're
I'm
gonna keep
keeping
it?
I'm coming around the
Oh
corner.
my goodness, that would be the greatest thing of all time.
And I'm going to wear my Reflex Denim while I'm doing it and still outrun you.
I'd have contained you in those reflex
Yeah,
denims.
right.
That's what would
I'm
have
not
happened.
pitching it. It's a fake pitch, okay? I'm going to keep it, and then it's a fake pitch. I'm coming around the
That's what
corner.
they all say
I
until
used
they
to
get
love the veer.
stuck.
I used to love the veer because it was like I get to call the play while it's going.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a spontaneous guy.
Oh, spontaneous.
So you wouldn't read the defense? Well, what the
Yeah.
defense is giving
No,
you, you just say,
no.
I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
Oh.
But I'm just saying,
You
like,
wouldn't know-
whatever random thing they threw at me, that was fine.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm so random. Last time I did something spur of the moment, they marked me 90. You know what I'm saying? Cheech hasn't caught up to that yet.
This is ridiculous.
Thanks, Rock
I'm
and
outta
Roll
here.
and Reflex Denim.
Rodeo time. Gotta get her on down the road.
This guy's he was a AAA pitcher, so he got invited to big league camp in spring training, which is a big deal. And he shows up, and he brings a roping dummy into the middle of the locker room in the clubhouse. And he starts throwing some loops, and then all of a sudden they get him. They got the whole team around him. They got it all set up, chairs around him and everything. Ocean waves going on. Everyone went nuts. It was
Yeah.
cool. It was cool.
That is pretty crazy.
When you were playing?
No. This was when I was a scout. This is only like 2 or 3 years ago. And I wish I could remember the kid's name. He was from Fresno, and he was actually pitching for the Fresno Grizzlies too. But he was on the AAA roster, and he got invited to big league camp. And I want to say his name was Tyson something. Anyway, it was pretty cool to see, like, I mean, this guy can really handle a rope, and the whole team got behind it because it's something that, I mean, you probably don't see too many guys roping the dummy in the clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
But he went out on a limb and did it, and then got ocean wave and all that kind of stuff, and doing some fancy loops, and the team went nuts.
What were you doing? You were scouting.
Yeah, I was already scouting at that point, and I was just scrolling through. I saw the video on my Twitter feed, and because that's how I get most of my baseball info now, which
Right.
it's actually a pretty reliable source of really quick information and entertainment along the way too. But
Yeah.
the primary reason why I have it is for baseball news.
Tell us about your story. So we've got Mr. Elliot Blair here, and tell us your story, baseball story,
All right.
since that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So I'm from a small town in North Texas. Played ball growing up. Played a lot of travel ball. Got an opportunity to go to Oklahoma and play college ball at University of Oklahoma, and really had no idea that I'd even have a chance to play professionally beyond playing in school. And then, my senior year, I redshirted my first year, went through, did all my 5 years or whatnot, which was fun because we played in the College World Series one time there. And in 2010, that's actually the last time that OU's been to a College World Series, was in 2010.
Dang.
And the reason why that's cool is because that was the last year that they had the College World Series at Rosenblatt, which Rosenblatt is in Omaha, Nebraska, and it's not there anymore. They tore it down, but it was like a historic stadium, and it's you grew up as a kid, and me being a kid watching this college baseball on TV. They put that on ESPN, and you get to see it. So it was neat to play in that stadium. 2011, I think, was the first year they moved to TD Ameritrade there in Omaha. Anyway, I somehow got drafted in the 47th round There was only 50 rounds, so I snuck my way in there.
Did you have an idea?
No, actually, I was already moving. So I was a senior. I was done with school. Well, I had a couple hours. I had a couple classes left I had to finish up, but for the most part, I was done. I was moving home and trying to figure out what my next step was going to be. And this guy calls me. His name's Dan Murray. He was a scout for the Giants. He calls me and said, "Hey, I don't know if you're paying attention, but you should probably go pull up the draft tracker online. You're about to see your name pop up." And I was like, "What? Are you serious?"
Dang.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool to see my name pop up across there and have the opportunity to go out and play. Because all you need is an opportunity, right? I mean, so yeah, 47th round, and they don't have 47, they don't have 50 rounds anymore. They cut it back to 40. So my round doesn't even exist.
So by today's standards, you might not even.
Yeah, no, for sure,
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
Funny.
So anyway, I got drafted, man. I played 5 years minor league ball with the Giants, and then, some of the best times of my life, some of the closest friends I have to this day were my teammates there.
Yeah.
And man, I got to see pretty much every portion of the United States through some form or fashion of professional baseball, whether it was as a player or now being on the side after my 5 years as a player. I went and I now work for the Rangers, and I'm a professional scout for them. And whether it was through scouting or through playing, I've gotten to see quite a bit of the United States.
Yeah.
Last year alone, I was in Portland, Maine. I was in West Palm Beach, Florida, in San Diego, and good old Kennewick, Washington.
All four
Washington.
corners.
Kennewick,
Dang.
Washington, yeah.
So tell me about. I mean, I think one of the more interesting parts of that story was you said in high school you really didn't even expect to. So like you went and played college ball, and then you played in the minor leagues, and you never really even intended on doing any of that?
Yeah, so in high school, I played 4 sports, but I was from a small town. I went to a private school, actually, so we didn't have that many kids, and they really encouraged us to play as many sports as we could. And so I played all 4 sports. I was actually recruited as a more highly recruited football player than baseball player.
Get out of here.
But I know. I mean,
For OU?
No, I wasn't recruited by OU, but I was actually, I guess some of the biggest schools that had some interest. Alabama, but that was back in the Mike Shula days before they were the juggernaut they are now.
Mm-hmm.
A&M actually had some interest there for a while. UCLA.
What position?
I was a quarterback, and I was a classic. To be honest, I was a classic Alabama quarterback.
Yeah.
Game manager, not gonna air it out. We ran a power offense in high school. Wasn't gonna turn the ball over. But I also wasn't gonna throw 500, for 500 yards a game and 7 touchdowns. It was gonna be, hey, I can run a 2-minute drill, and I can read a defense, and I can get the plays in, and we can make it all work. So, anyway, so football I enjoyed it, but I never played football until I was in junior high. I'd never played a down of football in my life. It'd always been baseball. So, man, for whatever reason, I didn't even pursue the whole football and college idea. It was like, sure, it was kind of like I'm getting recruited to play, but whatever, I want to go play baseball.
Yeah.
And that was tough because I wasn't really getting recruited to play baseball. Small school, all that kind of stuff, and I wasn't a big name, highly touted prospect or anything. So I graduated high school, and then I'll say in about June of the summer I still didn't know I was going to go play college ball. I had some junior college offers and things like that.
Did you have an idea of like where you would like to have gone to?
Sure. I think, my goal was to go play Division I sports.
Right. Okay.
And I wanted to play in a large conference. And the reason being, it's actually kind of cool, man. I wish I still had it to this day, but before I made my decision on where I was going to go play, I only had a couple of big D1 schools looking at me, but one of the things that really pushed me towards going to play at a bigger school was I used to love watching the College World Series on TV as a kid, and I wanted to go somewhere to a university with a big enough program that was going to allow me the opportunity to go back and play in the College World Series in Omaha. And that was one of the deciding factors.
So in high school, you knew you wanted to play college ball.
Oh, yeah.
You just never really expected to play professionally.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And Because and part of that is because I was never like a standout college player. I wasn't the guy, you know. I eventually, I would get to the point where I would like earn a starting spot and I get hurt, or I would just underperform. I'm just being honest. Like you know, you underperform and then you lose your starting spot and you got to earn it back. And
which is tough, by the way. Like, it's tough to
Yeah.
lose a starting spot,
That
and then
sucks.
and
Yeah,
then
that
and
would
then like you have to start back. Like, somebody comes in, you get injured, somebody takes that starting position.
Especially if it's like a younger guy.
Absolutely,
Right.
Yeah.
That's a hard L to go back
But
and
you gotta swallow it.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like anything else in life too. I mean, the competition, it forces you to get to like mentally get to the next level.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna fall apart.
Yeah, if you
know?
sit there and pout, ain't nothing gonna.
yeah.
Ain't nothing
Well,
gonna
I think
change.
that it's the most. I feel like in what you just said, not to cut everything off, but I think when you're physically fit, and then you get injured, but then you got to go back and maybe not reprove yourself, but go and earn your starting position
maybe
back.
change your attitude. even.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
sure.
mental. It's a very big mental. You got to dig deep mentally, and then go put forth the effort and outwork somebody to get that spot.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's-
humbling.
that's tough.
Well, and I think too. What were you gonna say?
No, I was
Go
gonna say
ahead.
it was weird for me. My first year, I got redshirted, and that was the first time I'd ever not had immediate success playing somewhere.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
like you go and like okay, you redshirted. When in baseball, that means like you're not playing an inning. So I went through all the practices, all the workouts, all that, and then just watched the team. Right. I mean, I was still in the dugout and everything, but I never got into the game. Well, then you end up your redshirt freshman season, which is technically your second year in school. You end up getting some playing time, performing a little bit, and then I don't know. It was actually my third year. I had a really major knee injury at Kansas State, and it took me out. And that was like a 14-month rehab.
What happened?
So I tore my ACL, my MCL, LCL, tore both meniscus, tore my calf off. The only thing that was left was my PCL.
How?
I was playing outfield, and we were at Kansas State. And Kansas State had back in the day, I don't know if they still do, but it was a synthetic turf infield, like that grass turf, you know, that's pretty popular now. And then the outfield grass was natural grass, but the warning track was that synthetic turf.
Ooh.
And so you get, you know, as an outfielder or whatever, during batting practice, you familiarize yourself with the lay of the land and the way the field plays and everything. But man, I think it was Sunday. It was of the weekend series, and the wind was howling. I mean, howling.
Not
And-
in Kansas.
It was pretty bad. I think we scored like 14 runs in the first inning, and we hit like 7 homers because you just hit the ball in the air and it was
Dang.
gone. So I'm in the outfield, and a ball is hit in the air, and the wind picks up, and I thought I had a chance to catch it. I jumped. I didn't have a chance to catch it, and I realized that like after I jumped, I thought, oh man, I shouldn't have jumped. All right, let me play it off the wall. And my spikes, half my foot was in that synthetic turf warning track, and the heel of my foot was in the natural
Ooh.
grass. So the spikes stuck in the synthetic, and when I went to pivot, because the ball, it was like a corrugated aluminum wall right there, and so the ball hit and it bounced sideways, and so I tried to plant and go get it, and when I went to plant and rotate, my knee just boom snapped.
Dang.
And so it was actually on Fox Sports Southwest. My mom's watching the game back at home, and she said it was kind of painful to watch because they kept like with the telestrator circling it, saying, "I think this is the problem right here." You know?
think we could get that video? Think we could get that video?
Maybe, I don't know. I haven't tried to look it up in a
I'll
long
talk to
time.
Fox.
Yeah,
We'll
talk
do
to
it.
Fox.
My
and
guy.
get it.
Yeah.
Get my guy.
Get my
Fox
guy
to
on
say-
it. Yeah.
I got a guy at Fox.
So, yeah. So that, I mean, I guess to answer your question, like I never really imagined. I always wanted to play pro ball. At that point, I mean, my younger brother was already playing pro ball. He got drafted out of high school.
Oh dang.
So
I did not know that.
yeah.
Get out of here.
What position?
Well, he was a catcher in pro ball. He was a third baseman in high school, and they turned him
For
into
where?
a catcher. He was drafted by the Red Sox,
Dang.
and he played 5 or 6 years with the Red Sox in the minor leagues. Became a free agent. Went and from there he went to the Athletics, and he actually got to the big leagues with Oakland for a month or so at the end of the season. He had a really, really good year, and unbelievable experience and stories that he has from being in the big leagues just for that. And that's something pretty cool to say that you
Yeah,
played in the big leagues. That's the highest
absolutely.
level. You know, it doesn't matter how long you got. You know, you're there. But then after that, he after he was with Oakland, he went to the Rangers and the White Sox, or White Sox and Rangers. I can't remember which order, but anyway, so I already knew quite a bit about pro ball just because I had friends that were already there, and then my brother was there. And I mean, actually, so my stepdad, he had like 50 or 51 years in professional baseball. He played in the big leagues for 13 years with a bunch of different clubs, but he won 2 World Series with the Yankees in the 70s.
Dang.
So I mean, it's
So there's a
baseball
lot
is
of
kind of in our
lineage.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I knew quite a bit about it, and I wanted to do it. I just didn't think I was going to have the opportunity. So when
Yeah.
it came across, when my name popped up across the screen, I didn't really care if it was the 47th round or the second
Right.
round.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like that.
What,
Yeah.
what were you about to do anyways? Like, did you have a plan?
Yeah. What
Yeah.
would you have done?
So my degree is
Uh-huh.
in petroleum engineering, and which is one of the reasons, another reason why I decided to go to Oklahoma, because at the time they had one of the top 2 or 3 petroleum engineering schools in the nation. So
A&M's not that bad.
That's right. They're up there. Colorado School of the Mines. LSU has one. Stanford's got one that's pretty good. I mean, there's not a whole lot of those programs across the country, but definitely A&M, OU, Colorado School of the Mines up there at the top. And I just thought, man, I wanted to challenge myself, and I really like the oil and gas industry in general. So went up there and did that, and that's probably what I would have done. You know, a lot of the guys that I graduated with that were petroleum engineers, they've done pretty well for themselves, and they got in early enough where this most recent bust cycle hadn't really hurt them too bad. And so, anyway, that's probably what I would have done. But the other thing, immediately, what I was going to do is when I was in school, when I was in college, I actually started like a college church service there on campus, and it was kind of through a church that was out of Tulsa, and I was actually contemplating just doing an internship, like a ministry internship there for a few months, because I knew I had to go back to Oklahoma to finish up 6 credit hours. And if I was going to do that, well, Tulsa's only 2 hours from Norman. And so
So did you
I
ever
could-
finish it?
My degree?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I finished. Yeah, I went back and, shoot, man, I got spring of 2011 was my last college season. I went and was drafted that year in June. Immediately went to Arizona to rookie ball. Played that year in rookie ball. Season wrapped up in call it September. And
What's it like playing rookie ball? I mean, is that you just get paid minimum wage and you're just kind of grinding it out?
man, it is wild. So, huge contrast to what I was used to at Oklahoma, right? I mean, you're playing at a big D1, Big 12 school. You're flying everywhere. First class meals, first class facilities, first class. I mean, it's like the Ritz compared to rookie ball. You know, I show up in Arizona. We get our physicals.
And you're expecting it to go up
Oh, yeah.
a level,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. This is pro ball,
Yeah, I'm
man.
getting paid now.
Yeah.
Hey, the first day I showed up, this is kind of funny. First day I showed up, we were waiting in line outside of the minor league facility to get our physicals. And I can't even remember the guy's name. There was 4 or 5 of us players there in line to get physicals. And the guys that were already signed with the Giants and were in what they call extended spring training, which is just a technicality. They were already playing games, and they were just holding them there until rookie ball starts. And so we were watching them inter-squad and waiting to kind of get our marching orders and everything. One of these kids was a catcher. He was a catcher from the University of Alabama. And we're sitting there and watching the game, and this guy hits a walk-off home run in the inter-squad, comes across, touches home plate, starts yapping at the catcher, and this catcher was a big dude. He grabs him and choke slams him, pins him on the ground, and I kid you not, this catcher from Alabama, he was like, "It ain't for me, I'm out." And he quit. He did not play a single day with the Giants.
He just left?
Yeah.
So not the catcher that choke slammed.
No, the guy that they had just drafted from Alabama.
So he was just standing next to you watching.
Yeah, we hadn't even got our intake physicals
Dang,
yet.
he just took off.
He's
Alright.
like,
He's like, I'm
out.
out.
All right,
yeah.
guys, I'm
So Along with that question, though, that Dale asked you, so could you tell a little bit of your experience of you're going in as a rookie to you're going into the just going into the locker room, you're like, and you've realized you've been drafted, all of this is happening, and you're walking into a Major League Baseball locker room. Like what's going through your head at that point? Like when you open the door and you walk in?
It was pretty neat. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it wasn't a major. I mean, it wasn't a major league locker room, but it was a professional locker room.
Absolutely.
You know, you walk in, you see your locker, you got your nameplate, it has that San Francisco Giants logo right by it. You got a couple of bats stocked in there. You got a bunch of shirts and just like all this apparel that they have for you. And I think the first thing that crossed my mind was, wow, this is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the second thing was, and it like hits you right in the face. It's like, man, now
work just started.
It's time to go to work.
Yeah, and I'm playing against the best in the world now.
Yeah.
It's not the best from my high school district. It's not the best from Texas. Not the best in the Big 12. Not the best, These are the best players in the world. And so when you look over, and man, it took me a while to like, I guess, accept the fact. But now I'm in like retrospect, I can look back and say like, it's pretty. Like, the first couple of days I showed up, there's like 18-year-old Latin kids that are better than I am from day one. Like this 18-year-old, I'm 23 at the time, and those kids at 18 are already better than me. So that's when it's like, man, you have to take your game to the next level. And there's a whole level, like we kind of touched on earlier, like the mental toughness aspect.
Yep.
Because that year I played my rookie ball it was true rookie ball. It was the lowest level there is. And I was there in Arizona, in summer baseball in Arizona. It's Africa hot.
It is Africa hot. I
It's
have
like
been
a dry
so.
heat, right?
So what about the conditions compared to Alabama D1? You were about to say like what it was like to like the difference in, I guess, quality of food they fed you type deal.
Well, okay, I need to say this too. From the time that was 2011, and how now with the Rangers and how we treat and how we feed our minor league players, it far exceeds what I had as a rookie ball kid in 2011.
So you mean there's food in the locker room?
There's plenty of food in the locker room now.
I'm in.
It's kind of healthy though. I don't know.
Sign me up.
Yeah, we'll be fine. It's all healthy stuff these days. But
Dang.
back then it was like I think the best example would be my second year playing. I was in A-ball in Augusta, Georgia, and it's also very hot there in the summer. But we had like every day before our home games, we would have meatballs, like some kind of meatballs,
Like Chef Boyardee meatballs.
Yeah. And they'd have like, it wasn't the nicest facility at the time, and it was a kind of an older stadium, and it shouldn't be, right? It's A-ball. Like the goal is to get out of there, right?
Right.
But at the same time, like this is your first experience in full season professional ball. You show up and, like, all right, I can live with this locker room. I can live with this clubhouse. And you look around and there's like, the plastic Tupperware things full of like frosted flakes and frosted mini wheats and things like that. Okay, we can have that. We can have that. And then like your pregame spread, because you'd go out, you'd do all your early work when you got there. You'd go back in, change clothes, change shirts or whatever, and go back out for batting practice. You'd finish up batting practice, come back in, and then you'd have your pregame spread set out there for you. And the clubhouse attendant, always those guys are always characters. They have the power to make or break your season too, just because they do everything for you, and you're always around them, and as good as you treat them, they're going to treat you back the same.
Right.
So, but man, we had a guy, his name was Sarge. I don't know what his real name was, but we called him Sarge. And Sarge was a master meatball chef. And this dude, he'd get a crock pot.
Where's the Sarge that you speak of?
Man, I wish I could.
Some meat in it.
I went back to Augusta because I was scouting there a couple years ago. And Sarge he's moved on to a different industry, I believe. But man, he would have
vegan now.
meatballs and barbecue sauce.
He's not vegan because he
Meatballs
likes
and marinara.
Yeah.
He'd have meatballs and anything, salsa. Like meatballs and ranch. Every day of the week is meatballs. And
Dang.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. A lot of that. A lot of ham sandwich. A lot of. I drank more electrolytes that year than I probably ever have, because they would have Pedialyte for us to drink because you sweat so much
Yeah.
in that hot humidity down there, and it was just different, you know. I mean, it was we were taking bus rides, and that league that I was in, the South Atlantic League, and we were one of the southernmost teams in that league, being in Augusta, Georgia,
So you had to drive a lot
in buses.
in buses, yeah.
And they weren't nice. I mean, they were nice coaches, but they weren't like luxurious, you know, like celebrity type deal. It
Right.
was a
So, I'm curious. You played college ball 4 years. You go play professional. Now you're a scout for 5 years. At what point in here do you meet the rodeo
Oh gosh.
host interviewer girl
Personality.
I mean,
and then marry her?
Dale, she's a personality.
Personality.
Okay, and she's a live, interview person. Oh wait, anyway. Go ahead.
What is her official title?
wife of Elliot Blair.
Bingo. That's what I'm talking about.
Bingo! Wow, y'all are gonna
Yes.
get ripped while I'm.
We are.
Y'all are
That's
gonna
what
get
I'm talking
ripped.
about.
We are.
If y'all don't know, Katie, she is a fireball, and y'all are fixing to get ripped. But go ahead.
Katie Kaufman,
Yeah.
everyone, is Elliott's wife. And, so how'd you meet her?
I'll give you the long version, the good version. Met her on Twitter.
Bingo.
Straightforward.
I
Like,
was
there's
gonna
no
say
way.
Tinder.
No. Tinder wasn't even around back then.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was. I don't know. But yeah, we met on Twitter. So, and I mean,
She's, now that you mention that, like, that's a Twitter kind of person. Like, she's just,
Well,
like,
she's-
very opinionated
Oh,
and
yeah.
mean.
oh yeah.
Her personality.
That's most
I mean,
people on Twitter.
mean.
So, what
She's a
what
live
was your first
analyst.
interaction like?
All right, so to back it up just a little bit, when I was, I've been like a rodeo fan my whole life, and I
Okay.
love watching the NFR on TV, and I was one of those crazy guys that'd wake up at like 1 or 2 in the morning when it aired
Right.
on ESPN. I'd just watch it, I didn't
Yep.
really, TiVo wasn't a thing, but anyway. Well, I guess, I don't know, 2013, 14, I get the years kind of mixed up, but she took over as the sideline reporter.
Yep.
And they put her name.
analyst.
Yeah, analyst. Okay. Yeah. So
Jerks.
they put her name up on the screen in the lower third, her name key, and it had her Twitter handle underneath it.
And you fell for it.
I thought, man, all right, this is a
Why
win-win.
not?
This is a win-win situation. I'm probably gonna get rodeo news, and it's an attractive girl too. So who knows
Yeah.
what's gonna come of it? Well, bad news is I didn't get any rodeo news. Good news is I guess I found my wife.
Yeah.
But
I guess.
That's terrible.
the most expensive news is I found my wife.
Yeah.
No,
The rodeo news part is just what you tell your boys when they're sitting around. Like, are you really about to follow her? Man, I love rodeo.
that's right.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Rodeo.
Yeah. So, there's no way around it. Like, I'm willing to admit it sounds as stalkerish as it possibly can be. Although, I would hope that it didn't come off that way because our communication was so sporadic.
Yeah.
Like, maybe over the course of, seriously, 3 years, we probably only had... so, I followed her. She never followed me back, so I couldn't DM her.
Dang it, Katie.
It's weak.
So I had to go at her like in her mentions or whatever. I don't know how you actually like the terminology, but I had to actually like tweet at her, right? And I wasn't gonna do that. I responded to a couple here and there, just random stuff, and liked a couple tweets. Probably.
But she was leading you on a little bit here and there.
Not
so
really.
Wait, so right there, so you had to be very strategic
Oh,
about,
yeah.
for instance, what your profile picture was. So what'd you use? I know it crossed your mind. Because if you're not,
I had. Well, here's the thing.
baseball something. Hopefully, like you're just stretched out.
It wasn't, man.
No?
It
Catching
wasn't.
I would have
wanna
used that.
say-
That'd have been my go-to. Hey, I play
Dang.
professional ball. Also, how's rodeo?
No, I want to. I didn't change my picture at all. It was the same one I'd had up for a while. Actually, the OU baseball team, like the athletic department, created my Twitter account for me because that's when I was in school when Twitter became a thing and it became big, and they wanted us to kind of promote the university and the baseball team and things like that. And so for a long time, my background was like OU baseball stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I changed it one time to it was like a kind of like just a somewhat of a close-up picture of my face.
Yeah.
But she, it's funny when you hear her talk about it now. She's like, when I actually met you for the first time, I had no idea if you were gonna be, 5'3" or if you were gonna be 7'5". I had no idea.
That would be a Katie.
So, but yeah, so the way it all worked out, the way it all kind of came to, I guess, culminated was we were both happened to be at the same event in Fort Worth at Casa Manana, which is a little it's a golf ball looking building there right by Will Rogers, and there was like a Lone Survivor Foundation type event, and Marcus Luttrell and David Goggins was there, and Taya Kyle, and they were just talking about basically the faith, family, freedom stuff. And I actually took one of my buddies with me, and we went, and we were in the truck on the way back, and we were headed. Cosman now is not a big venue. It's like, I don't know, 2,000 people fit in there, maybe. And majority of the people that were there were like, you know, Vietnam vets or Korean War vets or whatever. They were definitely were older than me and my buddy. And anyway, we went back, and we're in the truck and almost back to Argyle, and scrolling through Twitter, and she was there with, I guess, one of her friends, and I don't know where they were sitting, but anyway, connected over that just basically because I was like, man, if I'd have known you were there, I guess I would have introduced myself. I don't really know how to do that, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of without coming off as like super weird, but anyway.
Hey.
So we.
We're at the same event. Sorry, our eyes and our hearts didn't begin to dance when we made eye contact. Like, yeah.
There's just no way around. So anyway.
No, I agree. I think you took the correct role.
So you were
obviously.
putting in work, literally, like.
Yeah, but to be honest, it wasn't so stalkerish that it was
Yeah.
like real work. It was just kind of like.
Yeah, if you spread it out over 3 years, that's pretty.
Yeah. And man, I didn't even, to be truthful, I had no idea where she lived.
Yeah.
She had done a fantastic job scraping the internet. I'll tell you that right now.
'Cause you were
Because I
doing
looked.
research.
I had looked.
That's the analyst in him, I guess.
Yeah.
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 You
So,
were thinking, just give me a town or something.
sure, yeah. I mean, but I didn't know any of that. Anyway, we happened to be at the same deal, and then that was maybe on like a Thursday or Friday, and then like the next Tuesday or Wednesday we met for drinks, and
That was what
it.
year?
That was 2015. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2015. July 29th of 2015. How about that?
That is amazing.
Another
That's
day.
pretty good.
So,
July 29th.
So yeah, baseball. Then comes Katie,
Yeah.
and you've always had kind of a dream of being involved in agriculture, cowboying, cow-calf,
Yeah.
and so she comes from a ranch,
She does.
ranching family.
Yeah. Out in
And
California.
so, I guess what's your plan of action moving forward with? I mean, you got baseball, Katie,
Yeah.
cowboying.
Well, right now, with where I am in baseball, it affords me the opportunity to do things like come out here and be on the podcast with y'all, or go out, for Thanksgiving when they're branding out there in California. Go out, I can build my travel schedule as a scout around their shipping time, or just after Easter, because we'll go out there for Easter and spend
Yeah.
a week out there, and then they'll ship right after that. So, man, right now I'm in the learning phase of all this like, I guess, Western lifestyle, like cattle market and cattle business in general, and I'm at the point where I'm just trying to learn as much as I can from as many people as I can, and then once I have a decent foundation, then I'll start, like, I guess, basically vetting that information and saying, like, all right, I'd rather believe what this guy says, I'd rather believe what this person says, and then put it all together and then kind of formulate my own business plan, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think, she and I haven't talked too much about long term what's going to happen with their ranch out there. They have a pretty cool story. They've been ranching
Yeah,
out
I was
there.
going to say, they've been there for a long time. Homestead,
Shoot.
right?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they got a cow calf operation out there in the Central Valley of California, and they've been out there since like 1870.
So was that
Yeah.
was that place? Because I'm not real sure, but I kind of pick up here and there. Was it a Spanish land grant, or was it it was homesteaded actually?
I believe it was homesteaded. I don't know the answer to that question. It's kind of embarrassing. I should know.
No, that's okay, because I mean, anything that's homesteaded, like, if you're not real familiar, if those that are listening aren't familiar with, like, when you homestead something, like, you were there, like,
You're the
when
OG.
you were the OG, like, this
you
is
were probably one of the first
7 generations
besides the
of
natives.
of ranching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in Northern
it's
California.
cool. So I mean, I love it out there.
So you're going to have to decide at some point whether or not you want to live in California.
Right.
Is basically what you're saying.
Right. And I think, I don't know how it's going to end up. There's a chance that gets
there's-
split up with different family members and things like that. And there's a
Maybe
chance
by the
that,
time that
Well,
time
I'm always looking
comes,
for cow work.
maybe that by the time that time comes, everyone will have moved from California to Texas. California will be like, maybe we should change some of this like outrageously high state income tax and all
That's
that
right.
bullcrap. And then all of a sudden,
They call Dale Brisby, and they're like, hey,
everybody will want to go back to California.
Yeah, you never know. But man, right now, I guess the plan is just to stay in Texas, and
Man,
get
that'd
to a
be
place.
hard to leave Texas.
I know.
but it is gorgeous out there, though.
It is. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it gets hot in the summer. I mean, really hot in the summer, but it cools off in the evenings.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I spent a lot of time out there.
Did you?
And it's like, it's only hot for like 4 hours of the day, and then around 3 o'clock it starts to cool off, and it's awesome. Like,
Yeah, I enjoyed out there a lot. I mean, if things look different as far as the tax scenario and some other things that if it was easier to live out there and run a cow-calf operation or be in the cattle business out there, if it was easier,
Yeah, like if
Then
it was
I'd
like
do it.
Montana or Wyoming or
Yeah.
something.
or if there's so many regulations and restrictions, and even the farmers out there are battling it because they got the water rights issues and things like that.
Oof.
So it's a big deal, and it's a
don't-
beautiful area. I love it.
Talking about Texas, I get all the time. It happened the other day with Pennsylvania. This guy was like, "Hey, come over to Pennsylvania. We'll show you how real cowboys." And I'm just it's like Texas. I feel like is one of the main, the only
he goes.
places
Here he
I've
goes.
seen where it's like people always want to compare themselves to Texas,
Yeah.
and like I just want to be Texas. Like I don't really care how you cowboy
you're
in
not
Pennsylvania.
comparing. You're not comparing. Yeah, you're not in competition.
That's great that you
Yeah.
wear that kind
Yeah.
of hat in Utah. I don't care. This is the hat I want to wear.
Sure.
I like to tie off.
Here we go.
You want a dally? Cool. Do it, But everybody keeps I love Texas, obviously. Lived here my whole life. I've got a mentor that used to live in Texas, but he has a ranch in Wyoming. And he
Mhm.
was talking about like one of these days you're gonna find out, those property taxes down there. You're gonna want to move. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
He bought a ranch up in Wyoming, and I'll pay the property taxes.
I could see
Sure.
myself living somewhere like that, though.
Yeah.
I think if
and
I was,
there's people that are like that. Like Ross, my old traveling
Well-
partner, he was like that. He could live in Wyoming, but like
I don't have
it-
anything tying me to Texas, so
I think
like anything. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
this Joker.
I think if I was going to move anywhere, though, we were talking a little bit before we started the podcast. I think if it were me to move anywhere, I'm thinking Cave Creek, Arizona, somewhere out in Arizona. But other than that, like I would stay in Texas. I'm not going anywhere else because because I want to rope and
Man,
they have good
yeah.
stuff out there.
there's some spots in Oklahoma that are beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
but
The roads are terrible.
it's Oklahoma.
It's Oklahoma.
It's Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I
you've seen
just-
Tiger King. He's
I
from
just
Oklahoma.
I just can't live in Oklahoma because it's Oklahoma.
Yeah.
No offense, Oklahoma. I love going to Oklahoma, but I got to live in Texas.
That's
I
right.
need a Texas PO box.
I hear you.
So, like, okay, you guys have both been. Donnie, I'm not like, I want you to listen, kind of, because I want to listen. Both of you guys have been to some really, really big places, baseball, rodeo. Coolest rodeo venue that you can think of? Like, what's one of the coolest places you've gone to? That's a rodeo venue. And then baseball venue.
Mm.
Golly, what's that rodeo? I think it might be Clear Lake, South Dakota. There's somebody listening that's going to tell me this, but it's like on a ranch. It's on their ranch, and Sutton puts it on, but
In the summertime?
it's not Granite Falls, Minnesota, but it's that same weekend. It's around that same time. We went to Granite Falls, then we went to Clear Lake. I'm pretty sure it's Clear Lake. Anyways,
sounds good.
you pull onto this ranch, and like there's the main house is like on top of this hill, and you can't even see the arena. You pull on, and you're just like, oh my gosh, where's the dang frickin' rodeo? And then once you pull over the hill by the house, it
down
just
the
like
hall.
opens up, and there's all these hills, and it's just miles of trailers and campers and then the actual arena is in a bowl,
Oh, yeah.
and they just sit on the hillside, and that's a really cool. But Pendleton was bad to the bone. I mean, just the grass, and then like I think I was in like a first section or something. And anyways, during the bronc ride, and we all went out on the grass and watched it, and then we all had, the broncs come across there, and they'll put panels up for the bulls, but the bears and broncs obviously need more room. And then, but I would say, and then Cheyenne. I mean, just because it's the dad. So those three, Pendleton, Cheyenne, and Clear Lake, I think are pretty. Yeah. Houston.
Yeah, that's an impressive that's an impressive stadium, though. So, what about baseball venues?
Man, it's as far as big league stadiums are concerned, we got a brand new one in Arlington that's incredible.
Yeah.
No one's seen it yet. I mean, but I can vouch for it. It's pretty nice. No, I'd say.
What's some of the major differences?
The first biggest difference is it's indoor.
Yeah.
And that makes, I mean, I'm telling you what.
Golly, I wonder what the electric bill is to freaking
Golly,
run that
it doesn't
AC.
really matter as long as it's not Africa hot.
Do they pump AC in there, or does it just stay kind of cooler just because, like?
No, they pump AC in.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what the bill is or anything. I mean, I couldn't even begin to guess, truthfully.
I mean, is it? I wonder if it's like $63,000 a month or something. Like, well, I wonder what.
It could be more than that, because if you think about when you think about all the utilities in general, you have the air conditioning. You have all the electricity, whatever. All. And right now, the other day when I went in to watch one of our games, every TV in all the suites was on. So all the TVs are on.
It's like
if you think about this, it is, and there are no fans there right now. But think about this: when there are fans there, think about all the water and all the bathrooms, all the clubhouses, everything. Think about all of the ice machines that take water. Think about, I mean, all this stuff that is behind the scenes that you didn't even think about, just the basic air.
Everything to keep food warm too.
Yeah.
Heaters. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess back to
back to the venues.
I'd say, I really enjoyed Fenway, the historic aspect of it.
That's cool.
Being there, and I had a couple of really good friends that were actually playing with the Red Sox in the big leagues in 2013, somewhere in there. Yeah, and so I showed up after one of my minor league seasons, and I flew out there to see a Red Sox-Yankees game. Went down there on the field and was hanging out, and it was just the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry is one thing. But then to be there at Fenway, the historic aspect and the feel there, and to be truthful, I mean, I haven't been to all the stadiums, but that was one of the coolest for me. And then some of the other, I guess, off the beaten path type baseball stadiums I've been to that have just a cool feel to them. The Field of Dreams field, that's pretty cool. And then there's a field in Alpine, Texas.
Yeah.
And it's like the Coconut.
I've been there.
It's a cool place.
Yeah, been there.
They have they had a semi-pro team there for a while. I don't know if they're still playing there, but man, it's pretty neat just when you see the different levels of baseball that you can go and watch. And then I still think one of the purest places in the world is you take the parents out of it, but I think one of the purest places in the world is when you go and you see a coach pitch game and seeing kids have fun. That is cool because I just think that, for the last 15 years, baseball's been a job for me. Even going back my first year in college, it was a job for me. And you lose sight of the fact that when you're a kid, man, it was just pure joy to go out there and play baseball with your buddies, your closest friends, and have fun and wear the other team out, And so that I think is really cool to see.
How close on a percentage or a scale of 1 to 10? How 10 being fill in the stadium, how close were we or are we to putting butts in the seat at Arlington? Or is that even not on the radar, a 0?
Man, that's a hard question for me to answer right now. Partly because I don't know, it's purely speculation. And the other part is the stuff we get, the information we get, that the public gets away from baseball, all that stuff, it changes like every other day, you know? So what I would say is what I feel, there'll be no fans in 2020 for the 2020 season.
Yeah.
And shoot, I mean, it's an abbreviated season. We got 60 games, and we're already 20 games in. So
Yeah.
you got, 5 weeks left.
Yeah.
So
Me and Donnie are getting ready to put our money together, and we're gonna find a bookie. That's how we're gonna make it through the winter time. Just
perfect,
letting everybody know.
perfect.
How you feel about that, Donnie?
Whatever, man.
No, but I think it's reasonable to expect fans in 2021, and I think it's reasonable to anticipate there being at least 50% capacity on opening day. Now, I mean, all this can change if there's another big outbreak of this COVID stuff, and the way different states governors are handling their business, and the way Major League Baseball, the commissioner's office, and the Players Association, the owners, they all get together and they decide they'd want to have a special set of protocols wrapped around maybe another outbreak or whatever. And anyway, it's tough, man. You just monitor it. Literally, it's like very cliche, but like you take it day by day right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at, there's a team like, sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
No, you're good.
The St. Louis Cardinals right now, like,
Go Birds.
shoot, they've played 5 games, man. That's it. Because they've had an outbreak on that team, and they've had to basically like postpone all their games because they don't want to expose anyone else. So whereas we just finished our like 19th or 20th game, they've only played 5. So they're going to have to wrap up and play a bunch of double headers moving forward once everyone gets negative tests and all that. So
Yeah.
it's like something like that can happen, and it can turn your day-to-day world on its head.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's hard to answer that question, but I'd say 2021.
When they allow fans back into the park, I'd like 3 of my friends, maybe 4.
To sit in the dugout.
Okay. Well, hold on. Hey, listen. I was asking for a seat. You're asking for like go down to the
Who are
dugout.
your friends?
Well, I mean, does it matter?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. It'd be you, Donna, Leroy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Preferably a Cardinals game.
That escalated quickly.
Like when they're
Very
playing.
much so. He was like, I want it in the dugout.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to
I
do
mean,
down?
it's Dale Brisby.
Oh, okay.
You better be glad I didn't have to throw the first pitch. That's because you keep messing with the dang mic.
I did not.
Yes.
No, it's not.
You've been putting your mitts on that thing since we started.
Maybe if you would buy good stuff.
Dude, that's a bad to the ball
Maybe
mic
this-
right there.
No, it's not. This thing is
Ladies and
$25.
gentlemen, I'm sorry that
Let's get back to this right quick.
Cheech,
I recovered great right there. It's a piece of junk.
you haven't recovered at all.
I have.
Finish the question.
Okay, speaking of dugouts, really quick. Well, after my friends, can we go in there and get like some nachos and maybe a flat soda? Notice
Nachos and lemon heads on my dad's boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know someone that can set
think
that
you-
up for you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, but real quick, you've seen how his temper just blows up like that. What about in the dugout? How many meltdowns in the dugout have you witnessed? Maybe kind of some of the best.
I've seen some pretty epic ones.
Yeah.
And it's always the funniest when they backfire on the guy.
Like
who,
it comes back and hits him in the face.
Yeah.
Okay, way more interesting than a meltdown. What about like clear the bench brawls?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
It happens.
Have
I
you
mean,
been
okay.
involved in one?
Yeah, but so the thing is, on the minor league side, when it happens, most of the time it's never like you never start throwing fists. It's kind of just like someone gets real upset at someone else,
And
and
then you go
then
hold
it's
them
a lot
back.
of mouthing, and someone. So what happens is the opposing team or whoever, they start making a move towards the other team, whatever it is, like just walking over towards their dugout, and it's like, whew, I mean, everyone just swarms in, and you got guys running in from the bullpen, and you got guys, coming in from the dugout, and there's just a lot of yelling and shouting, and then, everyone gets fined, and the fine is like, it might be like $50 or $200 from the league, but that's like
Basically,
an
like
eighth of your
putting time-
paycheck.
like putting time out.
Yeah, it is. But so I've been
I'ma
involved
fight
in a few of
somebody.
them, but none of them were like, big time.
You
like,
never
knockdown
been actually
dragouts
punched in the face?
on a baseball field?
Yeah.
No.
No.
On a football field? Yeah, through the face mask, but it was.
Ooh.
I mean, I didn't wear a shield or anything. And,
I got poked in the eye. Yeah, I got poked in the eye.
That's pretty
once.
common. Guys just like stabbing you in the eye, or like when they get up, if you're in the bottom of the pile, you get sacked or whatever, and
Oh, they
guys are on
shove
top.
you down to get up.
They put their hand, their hand on your face mask and get up, and their hand slips through and it's stuck in your, things like that. So, but like in a fight, so to speak, nah, I've never been punched in the face.
But the dugout.
I try to avoid fights.
Me
I mean,
too.
like just stay out of them.
Me too.
Nobody wins.
I'm a fan of Bobby Knight and Johnny McEnroe and endless baseball fan of the dugout meltdown. That is my favorite thing to watch. Like,
Yeah.
because it does happen. Like, they go to throw something and it'll come back and boom, like hit him in the face.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, you were really mad. Now you're even madder.
I tell you, there's a former manager named Wally Bachman or Wally Bachman. I'm not sure how to say his last name, but he's got some unreal blow ups on YouTube.
Really?
Just type in Wally Backman, Backman. I don't. Trust
I
me,
don't know
it'll
why.
auto populate. It is
Dang.
a big, and he will go out there and he'll we're talking blow up, get in the umpire's face, like army crawl out to the mound, like throw grenades with the rosin bag, run over, like throw all the balls out from the dugout on the
Dang.
field, throw every bat out there, just
I have seen him throw every bat out there. Actually, yeah,
Yeah.
I have seen him do that, and it was pretty funny.
There's some good ones, and I mean, I those honestly, like sometimes those I never played for that guy, but some of the most fiery managers are some of the best ones to play for because man, it's
I
like
got your back.
yeah, and it almost kind of like fires you up and gets you like, all right, if he's gonna go out there and like raise hell, well then let's
If he cares that much,
Yeah,
I should
you know?
too. Yeah.
Your wife kind of have similarities to. any of
That's
those?
why you felt drawn to Katie.
Boom.
Yeah.
Figured it out.
You want to talk about throw some punches? I bet she would punch somebody.
Some haymakers.
I don't want to even know, to be truthful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thankful every day when I go home that my clothes aren't out on the front
So,
lawn
was it
on fire.
Was it a swear jar y'all had or push-ups?
Yeah, push-ups.
She has to do push-ups for all the cuss words she does.
Katie.
She says.
Yeah.
Ladies, she doesn't cuss.
What's her
Ladies
count
don't
up to?
cuss.
Infinity.
So
It
she's in
just keeps
debt for the
going.
next 10
yeah.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she at this point I'm not sure she could pay it off.
She
But
kinda
Yeah.
pays for your fuel to and from.
yeah, she it worked there for a while. And then we double it up if there's cuss words on Sunday. And
As you should. As you
yeah.
should.
And anyway,
A kid from the north end of the Central Valley wounds
I
up.
stopped counting.
Yeah.
Oh. I
Do
think
you ever have to do push-ups?
No, she didn't make me do push-ups.
I thought that one time we were all eating dinner in Vegas, and I heard her at the end of the table. That'll be 25 push-ups, Elliot.
Yeah,
she,
well,
she poked the table like that.
that was her getting back at. It was like her getting back at me. I don't know what I said, but
You probably didn't even
It-
actually cuss.
if there was ever a kryptonite for Dale Brisby, if there was ever just a kryptonite or somebody that can kind of make Dale Brisby like look around his shoulder, it would be Katie.
Well, she's
Oh.
the only one that talks crap. I think she's the only person
Keeps
that doesn't
Dale
like
on
that.
his
That's not
toes,
true.
and I think it's
there's
funny.
There's plenty of people that don't like Dale Brisby.
Well, no, but I mean,
She just might be the president of the club.
she just gives you a match, like kind of makes you think about what you're gonna say before you say it.
No, if you spent any time in the DMs or in my comments, there's plenty of people that.
Do you get a lot? I mean, like, is it every day that a hater will go on there, like, and get you?
So I've got people can text me now,
Yeah.
and it's
Community, right?
940-353-0890.
Donnie, you okay?
Text me. By the way, when you do text me, let's skip the 3 or 4 messages where you are accusing me of not being me and it being Donnie.
Wait, people
or
accuse you of not
Dude,
being you?
every single
You're
time
a
I'm texting.
fraud?
I will text. I am a fraud, but I'm saying like you're texting the fraud. Okay.
Okay.
So yes,
So
to answer your question, yes. To answer their question of whether they're texting the fraud or not, you are. The point is, I will text anywhere from at least 30 or 50 a day. On the high side, it'll be like 350. I'll
Whoa.
text. So like, because there's some times where I'll have some spare time to kill, and I'll text people back. And so I want to say 90% of the messages are me trying to prove to that person that it is me. And they're like, I'm typing each one. You know, it's not really.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might copy and paste something because the next person asked me the exact same question. But usually I am typing it out right then. So it's just like, no, yes, it's really me. Most of the time I don't send a selfie just because, listen, I've already had this conversation 19 times. I'm not sending 19 selfies.
He's on it again, y'all. He is on it again.
The point is, it's
Here we
funny
go.
to me. That's where I get a lot of my haters.
Really?
From
is
there?
in the texting. I think I get at least the same, if not more, haters actually texting me
I think
than in the comments. You'd think it would be like people like DMing me or commenting on something, but I guess maybe because they don't feel like it's real.
Yeah.
But
I just feel that people that have
dude, I've had to like delete and block and unsubscribe, like
people
all kinds
that
of people
that have
on
time
text.
to send hate stuff, they suck.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for real. Like if you've got time to really go into somebody's deal and type out, if you got the time to type out something that's hateful, like something like that,
Yeah.
you really
That's what-
suck.
Yesterday I posted, I think it was Rodeo Time 207.
With the pony?
And not just
No,
at
that,
life.
I think that was
Yeah,
206.
yeah, you're
207 we went
Yeah.
and we weaned.
Yeah, and
And-
palpated.
And we did palpating. It was like an 8-minute vlog, and posted it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Been posting those on Instagram, and first comment within like 3 minutes, somebody's like, "You've already posted this. Looks like good content must be getting a little scarce around there, huh?" And I was thinking like, okay, so number one, this is the first time I've posted this. It just happened.
Yeah.
I've posted a part of it before. Number two, like you must have your notifications turned on because like
And with nothing else to do.
Yeah.
because you were
Yeah.
like the first one to comment.
Number 3
num-
is good content. You said it
Yeah.
yourself.
and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I post like 4 times a day across 8 different channels. And even if I did post the same thing a second time, however long later, like,
Dude,
you're obviously following me.
people behind the screen, they're fearless and they know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like this kid, that video of Craig's finger the
Yeah.
other day. This kid,
Where's Craig? I'm going to fight him.
no, not that Craig.
Okay.
We're not talking about that Craig. Craig Cameron.
Okay.
Craig Cameron got his finger bit and it's all twisted up now from a stud
Right.
horse. And some kid commented, he's like, my horse bit me on the finger. I just stick my thumb from my other hand in his mouth and make him open his mouth. I was like, I commented and I just, like a little emoji, like rubbing his chin. And I was like, interesting.
Should have sent that.
Interesting.
He should have told him to send that pony back to the carnival he got him from. I'm pretty sure the horse that beat
Well,
Craig was
it's
probably
just-
like,
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. you know?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
everybody's John Wayne until
Yeah.
like
Oh, if that
you're 100%
until you're
right.
tossed in the situation and then you're like, oh, dang. This
Mhm.
that shark would have bit me. I'd have karate chopped
Yeah,
him in
I'd-
the top of the head.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
gouged his eye with my thumb and then
Yeah.
kept a couple of his teeth for a necklace. Like,
I'm not.
no, you wouldn't. So stop talking.
I'm not a confrontational person, but I do agree with the. It's all fun and games until you either call that person out or you tell them.
I love calling people out.
And it's like 90% of them are not gonna they're gonna hide behind their phone or they're gonna just keep on sending the hate because they have no other way of of channeling it.
Most of the time, I don't respond unless,
Yeah.
for instance, yesterday, he was just factually incorrect.
Yeah.
Like, we literally just made this, and it's the first time I've ever posted it on this platform. You are wrong. Now, if he would have said this video sucked, I'm probably just not going to respond.
Mm-hmm.
The block button has a lot of power.
I sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But there's sometimes when I can tell somebody's a fan, they're just kind of being a jerk, and they're and they just are wearing their opinions out
know what's
on
funny?
the keyboard.
Yeah.
But occasionally there's when it comes from like someone just sharing their opinion to being hateful. When they're being straight hateful and obscene, I'll block them. I got no problem.
Yeah, as you should.
Dude,
I got a lot of people on my block list.
I like to get, like, if they're being hateful, and I'm freaking good at this, I like to give them one good response that just burns them to the ground.
Yeah.
And
Johnny.
there's been a couple of them that I've typed up, and, like, they're too ruthless. I'll go to Dale and be like, can I post like
Because most of the people that talk crap are not that intelligent.
no, and
You're
So they're
exactly
very
right.
easy
Yes.
to like pick them apart.
and like there's been a couple of them I just couldn't even do it because it was just gonna tear them down.
Yeah,
It
I
was-
mean, the low-hanging fruit is most of them can't spell
I've always-
anything longer than a four-letter word.
I've always said, don't come under equipped for a game of wits
Yeah.
because it is so easy to make somebody so mad where they can't even think straight.
Mhm.
But then when they go to respond, it's like almost childish. You're
Yeah.
like, I'm over this. Just block.
Well, see, the tough part about it, for me, being, I guess, the leader, and that was really loud.
Sorry.
Being the leader as far as like I'm asking for it, you know. So like I can't
Yeah.
put myself out there. I'm posting 4 times a day, and so people are gonna have opinions.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I gotta have thick skin.
Yeah.
I sometimes feel bad for somebody like, for instance, Leroy,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
he's just been we've been together through it all, and I'll invite him over. He happens to be in a video. He's not really like mentally got his mind wrapped around the fact that this, 16-year-old little crap talker is about to try to bring him down, So but I don't know.
I also do think it's kind of funny though, like when people walk by and they're like, I don't know you, but I'm such and such, and you're like, I don't know you either. Like
Yeah.
when they do that, like I think it's almost like awkward funny, because I think it's funny because deep down inside they have to know, they kind of have an idea, but they're like, I don't know who you are, but then you'll respond right back like, well, I don't know you either.
Well, there's you can usually tell really quick
Yeah.
someone's intention of what they're saying.
Right,
So like
right.
there's 2 types of people that like usually that happens at a booth,
Yeah.
and I'll be in my booth, and when people will sometimes walk by, they might see someone, for instance, National High School Finals,
Right.
rodeo. Like, so a lot of people know each other there, and so there'll be 9 people in the booth. I'm taking pictures with 2 or 3 of them, and then maybe their family friends walk by, and they see this line of people taking pictures with this long-haired hippie wearing glasses inside, and at that moment they'll come up to me and be like, hey, I'm sorry, I don't really know who you are, but who are you? And that's like a very calm, like, oh, hey, I'm Dale Brisby, like they're taking pictures with, but then there's the other side of it. It's like, hey, I don't know who you are. And they just
It's so ridiculous.
they see that I'm important enough, I guess, in these other people's eyes that those people want to take a picture with me, so they assume that I'm going to be this cocky a-hole.
Right.
And so when they come to me
I love
with that
watching his
attitude,
face.
when they come to me with that attitude, I feel like I need to give them what they want.
So, like,
and be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so my immediate response is, well, I don't know who you are either.
I can read.
I don't know who that stranger is over there. Should
Yeah.
we go tell them? Do you know who they are? Let's go tell them we don't know who they are. That frustrates me. But you can tell somebody's attitude really quick. When somebody walks up and they're just like, it's an awkward exchange of, I need to introduce myself to you, then that's fine. Like,
He doesn't have very many facial expressions because he's got all this going on in the hair. But when it does happen, like, I know, like I can see it. We just been around each other long enough to know, like, I can see it. He's like, he takes a deep breath. He doesn't let it all the way out.
some people are legitimately sorry
Yeah.
when they say it though. And I'm like, no.
Well, they don't know how to say
You don't have to be sorry. I don't
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
expect.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I say I do, but like legitimately, I don't actually expect this random
Because some people-
59-year-old mom of 5 kids to have watched all of, like, I don't care
And-
if you don't know who I am.
And to that fact, like there's a lot of people out there that are introverted and shy, so like they don't know how to really start a they don't really know how to like maybe start the conversation of like, hi, how are you? Because they're introverted and they're shy, and I respect, I get
But
it.
then there'll be like a 54-year-old man who's like walks by, and he's like kind of mad. He's like, why are they taking a picture with him?
Yeah.
And then that's the kind. He's like, who are you? I don't know who you are. Okay, sir, I don't know who you are either.
Yeah. So the first time you kind of brought that up, my thought process was, I wonder if a lot of these people are like socially awkward and they don't know how to introduce themselves, and
Yes.
they see you taking pictures and they're like, man, I
Probably.
don't know him, but he must be important.
Probably.
So who is he? So I mean, there's got to be, 50 different ways you can take that and perceive that based on tone and the person and all that kind of stuff. But still,
Yes.
there's got to be some
Yeah,
underlying.
because the everyday person isn't going to just go up and randomly introduce themselves to
Yeah.
9 new people that day.
You can see them though, like at a booth, they'll be in line, and the people that don't understand, these are the people that I think are pretty intelligent. They'll go to Google and they'll Google like Dale Brisby, and then they'll kind of start seeing, they'll Google it and they'll look, and then they kind of start getting the idea. But their kids know, but the parents have really no idea, and so then you see them kind of slowly getting into the idea of the character, what's going on here, why is it taking pictures and stuff. And so like they're the ones that I totally give a lot of respect to.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about hecklers. Have you ever come across some intense heckling?
Man, I'll tell you this. The most ruthless crowd I ever played in front of, Texas A&M.
Really?
I'm
Oh,
serious.
yes.
I'm
yeah.
serious.
Dude, I freaking love going to baseball
It
games
was
at
probably
A&M.
him.
Oh my gosh, we would research the pitchers' moms' names.
No, you
and
didn't.
chant-
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's not
Yeah.
even like, it wasn't my idea. Like, this is like when you go to A&M.
Just
at
don't
A&M,
like ugly, but golly.
I'm telling you, like, we are gonna yell Dorothy's name every time you put that ball in your hand
And they do the research.
in
And that's,
unison.
yeah, it's impressive. And the
I'd have fought y'all.
Oh my gosh, the coach goes out to the mound, like everybody is yelling in unison, like, slap him on the butt, slap him on the butts. And so if he does, everybody's like, oh, and then if he
Yeah.
doesn't, it'll be like, in unison, tease. Like,
yeah. So and there's this other thing too, like the opposing pitcher throws 4 balls in a row.
Yeah.
You walk the guy, and then before, like as soon as he walks the guy, everyone in unison, ball 5, ball 5, and then they'll keep going, ball 11. Ball 11, and like you just see like opposing pitchers melt. I mean, they
Yeah.
just melt, and so that was a pretty tough crowd. But man, through some of the minor league parks I played in, along the way, sometimes there aren't very many fans on a Tuesday night
Right.
in
Yeah.
Kannapolis, North Carolina. So
Yeah.
like you go through and some of those games where there's like 12 or 15 fans. And you have the one guy who's just yells just the most outrageous.
Oh yeah,
And it's
because
usually,
most of the time it's like Thirsty Tuesday or Thirsty Thursday or something like that.
those are the fun days to play. Thirsty Thursday. That's when the crowds.
Yeah.
I mean, you get good crowds. And,
Right.
Yeah, but man, some of the hecklers and some of it's like some of the most awkward heckling is sometimes the best, where you'd have a guy. I remember, I think it was Lancaster, California, or maybe it was Kannapolis, North Carolina. I can't remember. It was two different leagues I was in, but anyway, there's one guy who's sitting in the stands, and he's an older gentleman, and not many fans at either place, and he'll just say, "Hey, Elliot, don't get a hit," and it's like, it actually kind of like messes with you, like you're like, I can only hear one person, and they're calling me by name, and it's that guy. I know who it is. It's that guy.
You will
and
not
he's-
make this putt,
Yeah,
jackass.
exactly. Yeah. It has nothing to do with like getting personal. It's just like,
Oh,
so,
jeez.
sometimes those are the best.
Man,
tap
those-
it in.
I'm talking about at A&M, like, people didn't even like baseball. They just liked giving people a hard time.
Mhm.
I mean, like, my sister was one of them. She didn't give
No,
a
she
crap
wasn't.
about baseball growing up. But, man, she was going to every game.
Yeah.
And they were going to sit in the stands, and she was going to, yell, and, man, it was fun.
Man, my buddy,
It was just funny to see everyone do something together,
In unison.
and pick on one person.
Yep.
Like 4,000 people picking on one person.
when
Yeah.
you're that person, man, you feel this big.
No doubt.
unless you're
Because
just
deep down inside, you're like, I want to fight all of them.
Well, you can't.
But you can't.
fight all of
Yeah.
them.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you're like, man, I want to fight all of them. All of y'all. I want to fight all of y'all.
Line up.
There are times as the opposing team when you're playing at A&M, where it feels like you're not just playing those 9 guys on the other team or the 25 guys in uniform across the field. You're playing like all 15,000 fans that are there, because it's like every single one of them is hoping that you lose the game. So you're playing against not only those guys but everyone else.
The most gratifying when you do win.
Yeah, we didn't win very many games against A&M when I was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we won a few games here and there, but A&M
just
had some
do
good
good.
teams. It does. I mean,
Just silence them for a moment.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
So you played quarterback. You were when you played football, you played quarterback. But could you imagine that and timesing it by like somebody being like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or one of those guys when they're driving down the field, like how loud it is?
I bet it'd
like,
be easier to ignore in football than baseball.
Oh yeah, definitely. But in baseball, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't hear that guy that's like talking trash to you on a football field, but on a baseball field, you can hear everything.
Well,
Yeah.
you can. So sometimes I'll say that sometimes. Now the part that like as a scout, now that because I've been on the field and been a player, and now as a scout sitting in the stands, like a lot of fans when I'm sitting there like watching, let's call it a major league game or a AAA game, like there's a pretty big crowd, 15, 20,000 minimum,
Right.
Sometimes those big games, there's 40 plus thousand at those big league games. When there's a fan 15, 18 rows back trying to heckle the guy on deck, that guy on deck, he can't hear someone who's talking 2 rows back because the crowd noise, just the dull roar of everything is so loud.
Absolutely.
That person, and there might, I might be on row 22 scouting or whatever in the scout section, and there's someone a few rows behind me, and I can barely hear what they're saying, but they're yelling at the guys on the field. And at that point, those hecklers, they're just doing it to get a laugh out of their buddies. Like, that has nothing to, and if they think they're actually getting through to the players, they're disillusioned.
Yeah. So it's more prominent, I guess, in like on the lower end of. I don't want to call it the lower end.
When there's fewer
when it's
fans,
smaller.
yeah, when there's fewer fans, regardless of what level you're playing at, when there's fewer fans, it's easier to hear the hecklers. And
I think
that's just kind of.
They should let, during the pandemic, they should let like 5 fans for each team come in.
Yeah.
Like this team gets 5 fans, this other team gets 5 fans.
Dude, you're terrible.
And they get and they get to pick.
So-
each team gets to pick their 5 fans. That would be hilarious.
The closest thing that they've kind of gotten to something like that so far, if you turn on the games now on TV, you'll see that a lot of these teams, they have like fans can take a picture of themselves and like their gear or whatever, and they can do a cardboard cutout and put it, in a seat in a stadium. And I believe
I heard about that.
I believe it was the White Sox. There's a White Sox fan who I guess he had some disposable income, and he bought 150
A bunch of them.
of himself in the same, and they put them all right above the visitors' dugout.
It's like
so it's
75.
like they come out, they look up, it's like the same guy 150 times,
It's like a
That's
$75 or
hilarious.
$150 to do that.
Oh,
I think.
yeah. Like the lower seats are more expensive.
Yeah.
I would definitely call that disposable income.
yeah, for sure. And I think I think we're charging like $50, but it's not like a flat fee across every team. I think the Dodgers are charging like $250.
But that
for a
money's
cutout.
going to
It goes to our foundation.
right.
Ours goes to our foundation.
Right. Yeah.
And then we'll
correct.
take it and spend it, and we'll put it back in the community. So, it's anyway, man, it's been a unique year for sure.
It's definitely unique all across the board for professional athletes, rodeo, professional athletes. I'm really excited to see. I'm excited for everybody to get through this, everybody healthy, but on a rodeo side and an athlete side, I'm excited to see people that were coming into 2020 either injured or they were on either in a slump or up on the rise. Really crazy, just for saying, I'm just going to use one name, like Shad Mayfield came in the tie-down roping and won $190,000 in like 4 months of the 2020 season, right? And that's a lot of dadgum money in that short span of time. But there's eliminator bucking horses, and there's bucking horses that have a lot of diesel smoke in them, and a lot of bulls that have a lot of diesel smoke in them. A lot of bull riders that were, injured, healthy. So like when this all comes out in baseball and in football, and in the NBA, like there's going to be, once everybody gets healthy and things go back to normal, it's going to be very interesting to see how people bounce back and how animals bounce back and the animal athletes. So it's going to be, you don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be pretty crazy. It's going to be pretty fun, actually. So
definitely.
Well, thank you for joining us, Elliot.
Yeah.
Everyone, go follow Elliot on Twitter. But don't try, if you're a young lady, don't try to holler at him because Katie Kaufman will.
Speaking of Katie Kaufman,
she will find you.
Yeah.
When can Katie come be on the podcast now?
When she's invited, I guess. Number one, Elliot got invited. That's why he's here.
Katie,
so
you're invited.
Dale would have to invite you, Katie. So that's what would have to happen. We got to end it with life advice. What you got, Elliot?
Man, that's a tough one. Put me on the spot.
What you got, Donnie? While we're waiting on him.
Yeah.
Be passionate about being passionate.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Cheech, what you got?
Something that's been on my mind, on my heart for a little bit. If you're going to be, we talk about being patient. Be patient also means being able to control your emotion while you're if you're working on patience, whether it's in business, whether it's right down to a situation, don't let your emotion control you. If you're going to be patient, be patient with your emotions too. You need to work on that with this cheap microphone.
Mine is always give 100% unless you're donating blood. When you're giving 100%, know that the best you're going to ever be is second behind Dale Brisby. So be okay with losing.
Gosh.
Yeah. I think, I've learned a lot of lessons through sports. And I think I'd say the most valuable lessons I've learned in life have been through sports. But baseball specifically, it's a game of failure. If you succeed as a hitter 3 out of 10 times, well, then you got a good chance of being in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's 300 career hitter. That's pretty good.
Dang.
So when you look at it like that, I was a hitter, right? So I had to learn how to reframe my failures in my own head mentally. So you sit there and just because you think you failed at something or didn't the outcome wasn't what you wanted, how you reframe that and how you perceive that, and that's the reality you're going to experience. And the people that handle adversity the best, everyone's going to handle adversity in life or have adversity come across them in life. Those that handle it the best and the quickest are the ones that come out on top.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's good advice. How to respond from the next bronc or bull you get on.
Everybody's
don't care.
got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to text me 940-353-0890. Check out dalebrisby.com and rock and roll denim. Pow pow.